The air inside the luxury hotel ballroom shimmered with wealth. Crystal chandeliers spilled golden light onto a sea of tailored suits and designer dresses. The International Business Summit had drawn in CEOs, investors, and delegates from around the world. At the center of it all stood Alexander Reed, the youngest self-made billionaire in the room. Known for his ruthless business instincts and calm demeanor, nothing ever rattled him, until today. Alexander glanced at his watch for the 5th time. "Where is my translator?" he muttered. His company, Reed Global Innovations, was about to sign a monumental deal with a Japanese corporation, Matsuda Technologies. Without a translator fluent in Japanese business etiquette, the deal could collapse. "Sir," said his assistant nervously, "Ms. Kato was delayed at the airport. She won't make it in time." Alexander's jaw tightened. "We're minutes away from the presentation. Canceling is not an option." He looked around the room desperately. Guests mingled over champagne and hors d'oeuvres. The hotel staff moved quietly in the background, arranging tables and refilling glasses. That's when he noticed her. A young waitress, balancing a silver tray, was quietly observing the room. She moved gracefully between guests, offering drinks with a polite smile. Her name tag read, Lena. Lena had worked at the Grand Crest Hotel for 6 months. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills. She was saving every rupee for her dream, studying international business. Tonight was just another shift, until she overheard the conversation at the VIP table. "The translator's not coming," one man whispered. "Mr. Reed is furious." Her heart skipped. Translator. Japanese. She hesitated, then gathered courage. This might be my only chance. Placing her tray down, she approached Alexander. "Excuse me, sir," she said softly. "I couldn't help overhearing. You need a translator." Alexander turned, clearly irritated, until his eyes met hers. She was young, probably early 20s, with a calm but determined expression. "Yes," he replied shortly. Fluent in Japanese business terminology, not just casual language. "I studied international relations," Lena said quickly. "I worked part-time translating documents for the Japanese embassy last year." "I can help," his assistant scoffed. "Sir, she's just a waitress." Alexander raised his hand. "Let her speak." "Do you understand Keigo?" he asked, testing her. Lena smiled slightly. "Yes, sir. Formal speech patterns. I can adjust my tone for business hierarchy." Her confidence surprised him. He studied her for a second. The clock was ticking. "Fine," he said at last. "You're hired. Temporarily. Don't make me regret this." Lena's heart raced. She grabbed a notepad, smoothed her uniform, and followed him toward the conference room. The boardroom was enormous. Glass walls, long mahogany table, and a panoramic view of the city skyline. At one end sat Mr. Matsuda, a distinguished Japanese man in his 60s, accompanied by 2 executives. Their expressions were polite but unreadable. Alexander greeted them warmly. "Welcome, Mr. Matsuda. It's an honor." Lena translated perfectly, bowing slightly as she spoke in flawless Japanese. The guests' eyebrows lifted, impressed. As the conversation unfolded, Alexander explained the partnership proposal, a joint venture between Reed Global and Matsuda Technologies to develop next-generation AI chips. Lena translated every technical term with precision. When subtle cultural nuances arose, she adjusted tone and phrasing to show respect. Soon, the meeting grew intense. Mr. Matsuda voiced concerns about production control and intellectual property. Lena carefully relayed each side's words, maintaining harmony even when the tension rose. After 2 hours, Alexander leaned back, impressed beyond words. He whispered, "You're incredible." Lena blushed. "Just doing my job, sir." But the real test came next, the contract signing discussion. As lawyers prepared the final draft, an issue arose. One clause in the agreement, translated from English to Japanese, implied that Matsuda Technologies would surrender full manufacturing rights, something culturally unacceptable and financially damaging. Mr. Matsuda's expression darkened. "This term, it is dishonorable," he said in Japanese. "We cannot accept such disrespect." Lena froze for a moment. She knew this was just a translation gap, not an insult. She quickly turned to Alexander. "Sir, they believe the clause removes their autonomy. It's a linguistic misunderstanding, not a refusal. Alexander frowned. Then fix it. Now. Taking a deep breath, Lena stepped forward. Mr. Matsuda, she said in perfect Japanese, the intention of this clause is mutual trust. It ensures joint development, not control. Mr. Reed respects your craftsmanship deeply. Her voice was calm but firm. Mr. Matsuda's expression softened slightly. Mutual trust. Yes, Lena continued. In Japanese culture, harmony, is essential. Mr. Reed wants to build that harmony, not dominance. There was silence. Then, to everyone's shock, Mr. Matsuda smiled. You understand miss? Yes, she said, bowing. My mentor taught me that successful business starts with respect. He nodded approvingly. Moments later, the tension broke. Mr. Matsuda signed the papers. The room erupted in polite applause. The deal, worth over $120 million, was secured. When the Japanese delegation left, Alexander turned to Lena. His expression was unreadable. Do you realize what you just did? He asked. Lena blinked nervously. I translated, sir. He gave a short laugh. You saved a deal my entire board spent months negotiating. You prevented an international embarrassment. His assistant added quietly, and made us 12 million richer in the first phase alone. Lena flushed, unsure what to say. Alexander looked at her name tag again. How long have you been working here? 6 months, she said. Mostly banquets and conferences. I'm saving for business school. He leaned back against the table, studying her thoughtfully. You belong in a boardroom, not serving canapes. Her heart pounded. Thank you, sir, but. No buts, he interrupted. You have talent, precision, composure. Most executives panic under that kind of pressure. You didn't. She smiled shyly. I just wanted to help. Later that evening, after the guests left, Alexander sat alone in the now empty ballroom. The chandeliers were dimmed, the music silent. Lena walked in to collect her tray, unaware he was still there. You're not supposed to clean up after saving $1 million deal, he said, standing. She laughed softly. Someone has to. It's my job. He approached her. What if I offered you a different job? She froze. What do you mean? Alexander took out a business card. I need someone who understands international cultures. Someone sharp, unshakable, and fluent in languages. My last translator resigned 2 weeks ago. Join my team. Her eyes widened. Join your company. As my executive cultural liaison, he said. You'll travel, attend meetings, and manage cross-cultural communications. Starting salary, triple what you earn here. Lena's mouth fell open. Sir, that's unbelievable. He smiled faintly. You earned it. You didn't just translate words, you built trust. That's rarer than gold. Tears filled her eyes. I don't know what to say. Say yes, he said simply. 2 weeks later, Lena stepped off a private jet in Tokyo beside Alexander. Her new suit replaced the hotel uniform. She carried a sleek laptop instead of a tray. The company's expansion project was now fully underway, and Lena was at the center of it. In meetings, she guided discussions gracefully, ensuring both sides understood not only the language, but the intention behind every phrase. Alexander watched her work with admiration. The same calm confidence she'd shown that night was now part of his team's daily success. During a break, he turned to her. You know, you've changed how I see people. How so? She asked. I used to think talent came with fancy degrees and big resumes. But you proved that real intelligence hides in unexpected places. She smiled. And I used to think billionaires only cared about money. But maybe some care about people too. Their eyes met briefly, something unspoken passing between them. When news broke of the Reed-Matsuda alliance, headlines filled international papers. But one headline stood out. Greater than, Billionaire's deal saved by Waitress turned translator. Reporters were fascinated by the story. A young woman who'd gone from serving champagne to negotiating $1 million deal in one night. At first, Lena felt overwhelmed. Cameras followed her. Articles called her the waitress who outsmarted the boardroom. Alexander's PR team offered to manage the publicity, but he asked her directly, do you want fame? She shook her head. I just want to do good work. He nodded approvingly. Then let your work speak louder than headlines. Months passed. The partnership with Matsuda Technologies thrived. Lena's role expanded. She now led the cross-cultural innovation division at Reed Global. One evening, after a successful Tokyo launch, the team celebrated at a quiet rooftop restaurant. As the city lights twinkled below, Alexander raised his glass. To the woman who saved this company from disaster, he said, looking at Lena. And to new beginnings. She blushed. I didn't save the company, sir. I just translated. He smiled. No, Lena, you translated more than words, you translated hearts. They laughed, clinking glasses. When the others left, she lingered, gazing at the skyline. You ever think about that night? She asked. Every day, he said softly. It reminded me that leadership isn't about control, it's about trust. She turned to him. And it reminded me that courage can change a life. Their eyes met again, closer this time. Years later, Reed Global became one of the most culturally respected companies in the world. Lena's department pioneered programs teaching executives empathy, respect, and global communication. Her name appeared on Forbes's Top Women in International Business. At the annual summit, the same event where it all began, Alexander introduced her as his chief global officer. When she stepped on stage, applause filled the room. She smiled, scanning the crowd. For a brief second, she caught sight of a tray being carried by a new waitress, nervous and unsure, just like she once was. Lena smiled kindly at her before beginning her speech. 5 years ago, I was standing at the back of this room, serving drinks, she said. That night, I learned something powerful. Opportunity doesn't knock. Sometimes, you have to speak up for it. The audience listened intently. And when you do, she continued, the right person will hear you. Alexander, sitting in the front row, smiled proudly. The billionaire who once panicked without a translator had found more than an interpreter. He'd found a partner in vision, courage, and trust. As applause thundered, Lena met his gaze once more. From waitress to world leader, her journey had come full circle. And it all began with a single moment of courage.